Afternoon, everyone. This is the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage, and I am making another new video. Just getting back to my video making after a long sabbatical, and I wanted to show you a machine I came across. And this is an example when I'm out looking at vintage machines to restore. Many of you who have seen my videos or followed my channel know that I have certain machines that I look for. I have restored a wide variety of brands and models. One of my favorites, and you'll know this from looking at the other videos, is the Singer 201. Now, this particular 201, at first glance, you might not recognize it because the American 201s had their sewing light was mounted on the front. This particular model is the British design version, and so it has the rear mounted motor, not the potted motor. Now, both machines are wonderful. They sew beautiful stitches, and the 201, whether it's a direct drive potted motor or the rear mount, they make the same beautiful stitches. The main difference with this one being, if you decided you wanted to put a 201 in a treadle, you could do it with this model. You could not with the direct drive American 201s, which is fine. It's just a difference to note depending on what your plans are. Now, the 201 is legendary for a number of reasons. You guys have heard me say this many times in the other 201 videos, but it has a rotary style hook, and it is a drop-in bobbin, and the rotary hook spins 360 degrees, and it makes for an extremely fine and accurate stitch. Now, all vintage sewing machines make beautiful stitches. The vast majority of them do. And this is a machine, it was called the dressmaker's machine by many people. If you were someone who wanted to sew couture gowns or wedding gowns or anything where maybe quilting squares where someone's going to look closely at the stitch, or you just personally really are focused on the stitch quality, the 201 is one of several Singer straight stitch machines that I consider the finest ever made in terms of their straight stitches. And that is the 201 that you see here, the Singer 301, which is a portable, larger version of the Featherweight or 221. And those are the three machines that I believe make great straight stitches. That doesn't mean that they are the perfect machine for every task. There are sometimes when you're sewing certain materials, particularly heavy, thick webbing or canvas, you actually want a class 15 machine, such as a Singer or some of the other brands. But this machine has a number of things going for it. In addition to the stitch quality I've mentioned, the distance between the needle and the support arm of the machine, this is sometimes called the harp or the throat, depending on the terminology you use. But it is about 1 inch, 3/4 to 1 inch wider than most other sewing machines. And that's useful to some people if you have very large items. But anyway, it has a light in the back that works. I have gone through the entire machine. As I go through all of my machines, I disassemble the different sections of the machines, I clean them, I lubricate them, make any adjustments that are needed, replace any parts that need to be replaced. It's rare that these machines need parts replaced. Usually, if I find a machine, that was not the case with this one. Sometimes there are parts missing. People have done things with them. I don't know what they do. They take the machines apart. This machine was all here. Everything was here. I sometimes replace bobbin winders if I need to. It just depends. This machine also is unusual in that it was purchased by someone who I imagine a young couple or family bought this, and when they did, they really spent a lot of money. In 1950, the 201 was Singer's most expensive machine, and it came with a case. If you wanted to spend extra, you could spend more money on one of the smaller, really nice, some people call them console tables, but they almost look like little lamp tables. You've seen many of these before. Those were very expensive, and they were extras. They did not come standard with the machine. The couple that bought this, and you'll see this in the photos, it's a little hard to see in my video cam right now, but this is, not only is this a mahogany desk, but this is the extra wide table. and it has a whole row of drawers for storing things on the right side. It could have been used as a writing desk. Remember, back in 1950, letter writing was still very popular. And not only is this one of the deluxe, extra expensive tables, it has a built-in foot controller. You could pay even extra again. There were all kinds of upgrades. I mean, the number of upgrades in a sewing dealer were really remarkable, as I've learned over the years doing these restorations. And instead of having the foot pedal, which is fine, I have a foot pedal on my own machine I use, but if you paid even extra, one of the options was to have the foot pedal built into the cabinet, and it has a little pedal that's very discreet in the bottom here, and it almost looks like the pedal you would see on a piano or an organ or something. But again, this was all about home decor and making it look like it wasn't a sewing desk, right? Even though everyone knew it was. It could look like a writing desk, a very beautiful one. The quality of the cabinets of that sewing companies used, including Singer in the vintage era, is incredible. They are built like fortresses. They're built very heavy because they had to hold heavy machines. They've got incredibly beautiful woods. This one I believe is mahogany, but they came in cherry and walnut and maple and so forth. So when you look at this machine, this is something that those of you who are, again, focused on your stitch quality, you can do everything like most domestic machines allow you to do. You can do a lot of different sewing projects on this. You can do light. This is sort of a light cotton fabric I have here under the presser foot at the moment. And you can even do, of course, heavier fabrics if you wanted to. Here's sort of a khaki canvas fabric. But again, it's the place where this machine really shines is in your light to medium weight fabrics. It is amazing. It's amazingly quiet, and it sews a stitch that I believe, and I've learned a lot about stitches from my customers over the years who are master sewers, far better sewers than I am, and they've taught me a lot about what really good stitches look like. And the 201 has, I believe, and many other people believe, is one of the finest stitches you can get with any sewing machine in the history of sewing machines. And that's a pretty broad statement, but I think it holds up well. So you'll see lots of photos of this when I put the listing, because I'll put this up for sale. And just to remind all of you, I've said this before, Singer 201s, when I restore them, require a lot more time for me to overhaul, because honestly, like many things, the only right way to do a sewing machine overhaul is the slow and tedious way. So it takes me a lot of time. All the machines take a lot of time, but the 201s tend to take me longer, and that just has to do with the sophistication of their mechanicals and their drivetrains. They were beautifully engineered. The great thing, again, this is with all of my machines, the only thing you will do to maintain the machine is to keep your feed dogs clean of lint, which you should do with any sewing machine, new or vintage, and then just oil it at the beginning of each project, and that's it. So all of the photos you're going to see of all the overhaul work that I have done here, those are not things you're going to need to do. I'm doing a restoration. I'm literally getting this machine ready because all of these machines need maintenance, and once that maintenance has been done, service maintenance that I do, you shouldn't have to do anything other than just clean it, oil it, and enjoy the sewing projects that you do. So, without further rambling, let's let you guys hear, if you can hear it. It's a very quiet machine, and I want you to see how she sews. And of course, you can back tack. By the way, many of you who look at vintage machines, you may not have a machine at all. This may be your first one. They're beautifully simple to work on and to learn how to sew. Others of you who are looking for this level of quality of stitch, you may have other machines. You may have machines that do decorative stitches or embroidery, or you may have sergers, which are overlock machines, right? But a lot of people who go into sewing, eventually you have more than one machine. Not all of you. You don't have to. I own, You know, I sew on any of the machines that are here that I have in my inventory until they're sold. So I only need one machine, but I'm mostly a mender. I'm not really a master sewer. But I want you to see, now watch the very slow needle control I have here, folks. That's really amazing, right? And then of course I can speed her up. Now, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to come back. But this time, I'm going to shorten the stitch. One of the shortest and finest stitches you will ever see on any sewing machine is from any Singer that has a rotary hook. Again, the 201, the 301, and then the Featherweight 221. Now, watch this. You'll notice the fabric is feeding very slowly, right? It's not moving very fast because I've got the stitch set up to go very short. You can use this in sewing knits. There may be other projects you have where you want a really short stitch. The Singer 201, for those of you who don't know, has a drop-in style bobbin. So you have that, you know, as a convenience, if you like. Now, I'm going to show you guys, get these thread tails cut off here. Let's see. Okay, up here, you're going to see one of the first rows of stitches. And then down here, you will see the stitches are so fine and so short, it almost looks like a stripe going across. It is truly remarkable just how fine the stitches can get on a rotary hook Singer. It just blows my mind sometimes when I think about, I don't even know if it's focusing in for you. Let me pull it in, guys, so you can hopefully see. Change the angle. Now, I'm going to put in a heavier cloth. And this is a heavier weight khaki fabric. Came off a pair of trousers. And it's got some, you know, these look like serged seams. So I'm going to fold it over and we can get several layers here because this machine is very strong. Like I say, if you're going to sew heavy canvas or even lots of heavy denim, this machine will do it. It'll do it all day long. I personally like the Class 15 machines for that. But let's see here. And I think this fabric is a little, because of the color difference from this and the thread, you'll be able to see the stitches a little more clearly. That last sample I tried to show you was sort of white on cream or something, so that may not have shown up very well. All right, and we're going to shorten the stitch. Yeah. Okay guys, let's see if I can do a little bit better here in trying to show you the stitch quality. Yeah, if you look at how incredibly straight the stitches are, There we go. That's, yeah, I was trying to get that in. And then look at the shorter ones that I did down here on the second line. Really, really, really fine stitches. Again, if you are looking for a machine that will sew some of the straightest stitches I've ever seen on any machine, the 201 is one of those. It's one of my favorite. Just the sound it makes is really wonderful. Again, when I go through the machine, I go through the whole machine. In the listing, when I have it up for sale, you will see lots of photos. I take photos as I go through the restoration process, because even in addition to listing what I've done to the machine, I actually want to illustrate and show you guys that. I want you to see, like, well, what does he mean when he says he did so and so? I'll try to illustrate that for you, because again, if you're going to do this, if you're going to buy a vintage sewing machine from someone like myself, you really want to be able to see all the different things that were done to it. And I've even, there should be photos, I even, of course, restored the built-in foot pedal, got the cabinet or the desk on its side without the machine in it, and actually went in and cleaned and adjusted the foot pedal for you as well. So again, this machine is ready to go. If you decide to ever treadle, of course, you can treadle the 201 as long as it's not the American direct drive model. So if any of you have questions or comments, please post them in the video. It's nice to be getting some videos back on my channel, or my YouTube channel again. And if you'd like to set up a time to come and see the 201 and try it out, you are welcome to do so. And I also have smaller tables as well, but this table is really beautiful. It's one of the nicer, most expensive tables you could have bought in 1950, and so I don't have the exact price, but I suspect that when they went into the dealer and got this, they ended up, they could have even had to make payments. That's how expensive these were back in the day. But anyway, I love rescuing vintage machines, obviously, and the 201 is one of my favorites. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you.